Hello, library friends. It's Melissa at the Montgomery County Public Library, and today we're doing our very first hands-on summer reading project for older kids or adults. Um, each week we'll be doing a project. Summer reading registration started on June 8th, so you can come down and sign up anytime you want to. Things are a little bit different for summer reading this year. Um, all of our books and materials can be either done through books that you read, they can be done books online. Adults and kids both are doing a bingo style book card this time. So you read books, you do activities, you check things off on your bingo card, and when you bingo, you have opportunity to get prizes. So that's pretty cool. You can sign up a couple of different ways this year because things are a little bit different. You can go through the drive-through at the Mount Sterling Library. You can ask for curbside service at the Camargo branch. And on June 8th, the Mount Sterling Library has opened a walk-up desk. You can't actually come in the building and check out books yet, but you can walk up and do summer reading registration. Tell us what kind of books you like. We'll pull books for you. We'll get books for your kids. So that way you can get books and get a little closer and look and point if you need to. But that's what we're going to do to start out anyway, and we'll see how it goes. But as far as these activities, all the activities that we normally would do for summer reading, we're going to do online. There'll be something new each day, each weekday at 11. So on Mondays, every Monday will be the activities for the older kids. And like today's activity will be something kind of cool for adults too. So that's on Mondays. On Tuesdays, somebody will read a story that goes with each weekly theme. Wednesdays will be crafts for younger children. Thursdays will be stories again. And then on Friday, we'll do Facebook Live Fairy Tale Bingo. Make sure you stop by the library and pick up your Fairy Tale Bingo cards. You can make your own card, or the library staff's made some cards up that you can just pick up a card and play along with bingo. It's not regular bingo. There's no numbers. There's actually symbols that go along with this year's summer reading theme, which is Imagine Your Story. So there's a lot of fairy tale things. So that way the kids can have a good time and pick out things that they can see, like an apple or a princess or a horse or those kinds of things. So make sure you stop by and get your bingo card. The first bingo will be on Friday. We do each of those activities. We'll release the video around 11 o'clock on Monday through Friday. We'll play bingo at 11 o'clock. But today's project is actually bread slice clay. Long ago, back when I was in high school, before Sculpey clay came out or any of those cool acrylic clays did, we learned how to make homemade clay, and really it's a bread slice. The instructions are in this week's packet for the older kids, so if you don't catch it all right now, drive by and pick up the instructions as part of the packet. I know the older kids packet has some older style coloring sheets. There's crosswords, there's a scavenger hunt, there's the instructions for this project, all kinds of cool things. So the first thing you're going to do is take your bread. You need 3 slices of bread. This is my 3rd slice. I've already started with the others. And peel all the crusts off. Honestly, save your crusts. Later you can make homemade croutons. Saute them in a skillet with a little bit of butter, some onion powder, some garlic powder. You'll have some great croutons made out of your slice. I've already got 2 of them cut into pieces, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So what you're going to need, your 3 slices of bread, 2 tablespoons of glue, we'll use those, some citrus juice, like lemon juice or lime juice, if you have it. If you don't, it's fine, it'll be all right. And some acrylic paint. Again, if you have it, it's fine. If you don't have it, it'll be fine without it. Other things that you might want to use, wax paper, and I'll show you in a minute how that works. That's really great for when you're finished with your project to lay your project on so it doesn't stick. Your bowl, a plastic spoon, it's going to get glue on it, it will wash off, but plastic spoon. Other things, toothpicks are really handy for any kind of clay project, and you'll see how we're going to use those here in a second. And then other craft stuff, whatever you might need. I do have a long pin. You can see that close. It's pretty handy for craft projects, and I'll show you what I did with it later. And then to make this a little easier, what we did at our house was we took an empty box and we poked. You see those little tiny holes? We poked holes in it. That way our project's going to actually be able to sit up in it. And I'll show you one that I already made. I'm going to make mushrooms today. They all have a toothpick on them. And that way, this mushroom's already dried. But when you make your project, you can actually stick it in the holes and it sits up and they'll dry better. So how I made those holes, I poked them with the pin, which made a small hole, and went back with the skewer and made the hole a little bigger so the toothpick would fit. It's much easier to do that ahead of time. The first round we did it, we made our project, and then there we were holding one wet mushroom and trying to poke holes, and so make them ahead of time. Now, back to actually making our clay. I already have 2 slices of bread in here. It's the 3rd slice, and you're just going to use your fingers and crumble it into little pieces. That's all you've got to do. That's why I went ahead and did 2 slices already, because I know you all don't want to sit here and watch me crumble 3 slices of bread. So crumble those in. The pieces don't have to be extremely small. That would take all day. But the smaller you make them, the easier it will be to mix when we go to mix it. So I will finish crumbling up this piece of bread. If the bread's just a little bit stale, it seems to crumble a little better, but you can use fresh bread either. It doesn't matter. Really cool project for when your bread starts getting a little old, and get it out and make a project, make some clay for the kids. Okay, so I've got my bread. That's all that's in there is my crumbled up bread. There's a few of those are a little big. Let me see if I can make them just a tad smaller. 2 tablespoons of glue. Any white glue will work. And in fact, the glue that we have is on the older side, so it's a little thick. That's fine. It's a little clumpy. That's fine. This is one of those very forgiving, cool, easy projects. Okay, so there's my first one. Let me put in my second one. I've just about used the entire thing of glue. So far we've had 3 slices of bread and 2, if I can ever get all the glue out, 2 tablespoons of glue. Now my measuring spoon. Now I have glue all over me, but it's going to happen anyway. So I'll set that aside. Now, one of the things that was optional is either some lemon juice, lime juice, something like that. And the cool thing about it, I've got a lime. Again, my lime is a little on the older side. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of juice in. The benefit to that is the ascorbic acid or citric acid actually helps kill germs. So when you're finished with your project, if you don't use all your clay the first time, you can put it in a plastic bag and it will be good to use for several days. Now, literally all those things are in there, and we're going to start with a spoon and mix it up. It's really kind of thick, really kind of clumpy, but I promise it's going to work. Once you get it to the point that the glue is kind of all surrounded by some bread, so it's not entirely sticky, you can go in with your fingers, because you're going to have to do that anyway, and just mush it and knead it. Once it's kind of all stuck together pretty good like that, you can use both hands, and yeah, you can hear the glue stick. I always hit a point, once you get it kind of at a good texture, you can roll it. And literally you're just going to knead it and roll it until it turns into a good texture clay. And it always amazes me how you can take a few bread slices and a little bit of glue and make a really fine quality, almost like Sculpey clay. This clay air dries, so you don't have to bake it or anything like you do other kinds of acrylic clays. It works really well. One of the other optional things was to add some acrylic paint. Again, that's totally up to you. If you're going to make beads or something like that when you're finished, you might want to go ahead and put the color in it. In the case of this, since we're just doing mushrooms and they're all going to be painted anyway, I won't put any paint in this one. But like I said, the last batch that we made, we put just a little bit of gray in so that all our mushrooms kind of have that natural gray color. But we're going to paint over them anyway, so try to get all the sticky off my hands before I roll it a little bit more. But as you can see, it's pretty quick, pretty easy. I've got half of it right now, and I'm kneading it because you have to knead it enough to get all those extra bread chunks mixed with the glue. Like I say, you're going to be really surprised at how quick and easy it mixes up and makes a really good clay. It's kind of rubbery, stretchy, but at the same time it is clay. So that piece is pretty good. The project that we're doing, this week's theme, because each week has a different theme. This week's theme is fairy and gnomes. So we're going to make little mushrooms out of this today. And like I say, I've only got a piece of it. I've got a whole other big piece. And you'll be amazed at how much you actually get out of it if you make small projects. Let me count. We made a batch the other night, so they'd go ahead and be drying. And we made 1, 2, 3, 5 mushrooms, a chair, and some other cool little things I'll show you in a minute. So we've got it made. For the mushrooms, all you need are smaller pieces, a toothpick. The toothpick comes in extremely handy. And shape your mushroom cap however you want to shape it. This one's going to be a little bigger than some of the others we've made, I think. So you see, I just have a little mushroom cap, however you want to do it. Roll out a mushroom stem. I'm going to make this one a little fat mushroom. The more you work with it, the smoother it'll be. One thing I've also learned is you can dip your finger, after you've got it made, you can dip your finger into a little bit of water and smooth over it, and makes it more of a smooth texture. But that's totally up to you. So now I'm sticking my toothpick into my mushroom stem, and I'm going to put the cap on top. That gives me two things that I can do with it pretty cool. For one, it helps hold the top to the bottom, and it stays together. If yours comes loose or falls apart, since there's white glue in it, you can use white glue and glue it back together after it's dried. No big deal. But usually it'll stay together. And it's got the stem. That's the toothpick. That toothpick comes in handy right now because I'm going to put it in my box I showed you. And now it can sit there and dry without touching anything. It's not going to stick. It's going to sit up. It's not going to warp. So that's pretty handy. And then secondly, here's my mushroom that we made the other day. I have a handle to paint it with. So we'll paint this one. That's, I've showed you how to do the mushrooms. You can totally make anything else you want to because it's a really nice, fun clay. But there's a mushroom. Here's a mushroom we already made. I'm going to paint this one real quick. You can use, to paint it, you can use any kind of acrylic paint, and that's what I've got. You can also use fingernail polish in any color. Just make sure that it's had 3 or 4 days to dry before you paint it, particularly with fingernail polish, or it might mold. But they paint quick and easy. And get him, so you can see me paint him. And like I said, it's really cool that the toothpick handle is there, so that way I can hold the handle and I don't have to hold it or touch any painted surface. We'll get him painted, and I'll stick him back in my box until he dries. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things that we did, and that way that might inspire you. This year's summer reading theme is Imagine Your Story. So you've got clay. Imagine all kinds of cool things that you can do with the clay. Later you can make up stories or whatever. Today, since fairies are our theme, we're thinking about fairies. Let me get my plant. So I have a planter here. And as you can see, I've already got little painted mushrooms. There's a little chair there. If you see the little chair, my son made the chair. The other thing I'm going to show you, there aren't instructions because it's entirely you create your own process. We made, if you see it sticking up here, a little fairy house. Now there's dirt on it. But you see it's got a little door handle, little roof. If you can see inside, it's made out of a toilet paper tube. So for the little fairy house, all we did was we took the toilet paper. I have to look for my stuff. We cut a rounded door. So now I have a toilet paper tube and a door. And then for our fairy house that my son and I made, we glued sticks all the way around it. So we took sticks, we broke them to size, and we glued them all the way around it. So as you can see, really, there's just sticks glued all the way around it, and little bitty sticks on the little bitty door. On top, you see it's got that cool little roof. We used another toilet paper tube and folded it into a cone shape, kind of. It's just half of the tube, folded it into a cone shape and taped it and glued it on the roof. So cone shape, tape it, and we glued it on the roof. For our little house, we went out in the yard, in the driveway, and picked up some of that moss that grows in the driveway and glued to the top to make his little roof. But that's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. But I wanted to show you, if you can see, and like I say, it's been in my plant, so it's got dirt. Some of the sticks I made longer than others. And the reason that is, those longer sticks, every now and then, they're not all long, just some of them, it helps it stick in the plant better. So now it sits up on the sticks in the plant without all the sticks or the cardboard tube touching the plant. So when I water the plant, the cardboard's not going to get wet. It's just the sticks. So there we go. We have our interesting little fairy house and a little chair and our little mushrooms we made. So you all can make some mushrooms if you want. If you want to be more creative, after I made the mushrooms, got dirt all over my surface. After I made the mushrooms, I had a little bit of dough left. And I was like, what can we do with that little bit of dough? So my son said, well, let's make something library related. So I ended up, I've got a piece of paper here so you can see them, maybe. I made little books. You see the little pages? And I'll try to do a video later on the little books. They were pretty simple and easy. All I did, once I just cut out the square of clay, I took my needle and I went in the edges like this. So that way it made the little sections that look like little pages. And then I painted them. Here's the painted one. This one I figure is probably a little fairy journal. You see it? It's actually the same clay made out of bread slices, painted. And that one's painted with acrylic and the gold part is fingernail polish. So that you can see that little journal that belongs to our little fairy. I thought, okay, well, if a fairy had a journal, a fairy probably needs something to write with. What would a fairy write with? So I made a little tiny quill. It comes out. So it's these little feather. They're so tiny, it's hard to show. With a little clay ink bottle. So now our fairy has a journal and a quill to write in, which is kind of cool. So it's entirely up to you all. What you want to make, what you want to create. The mushrooms are super easy. Not a lot of shaping, doesn't take long. The toothpick makes it a much easier project so you can hold it when you paint, when it dries. That makes it really handy. If you don't have a toothpick, that's fine too. Just make a fatter bottom so it sets up good. Totally up to you. If you make a project, post a picture or share a picture with us on Facebook so we can see it. At the end of summer reading, we're going to put some of those pictures together. So to tell you a little bit about what's going on, like I said, every week we have activities. Mondays at 11, we'll make sure we get posted a video about older kids' crafts or things that teens or adults might want to do too. Tuesdays are stories out loud. Wednesdays are crafts for younger kids. Thursdays are stories out loud. And Fridays, fairy tale bingo. You don't have to watch at 11 o'clock. That's one of the coolest things about this version of summer reading. If you're not home at 11 o'clock, you can watch it again later on Facebook. We'll also post to our Montgomery County Library YouTube page. So if you have friends that don't have Facebook and you want to let them know about it, make sure they know they can go to the Montgomery County Library YouTube page and watch there. Caution, every library in the nation, every state in the nation apparently has a Montgomery County Library. So look for the one that has the picture of our building and you'll know that's us. Themes, I told you each week is a different theme. This week's fairy tales and gnomes, so all the packets have that. Make sure you come sign up for summer reading and get your packet. The younger kids have coloring pages and activities. They actually have materials for their craft project they can pick up this week. So come by and pick those things up. The week after that is going to be fairy tale animals. And like I said, for the older kids, we're going to do origami bookmarks. So there'll be some materials that you can pick up, or you can just follow along at home. Either one, we'll have projects both ways. The third week of June will be princes, princesses, and palaces. So the cool thing about that, crafts, projects, activities, learning activities, and all that will be based on that theme. You can pick up your packet for that theme. And then additionally, we want you all to participate that week. So draw a picture, paint a picture, use clay to make something, decorate something, anything that can, dress up as a prince or a princess, all those things that are fairy tale prince, princess, castles. Take pictures of it, send them to us, and then we're going to put it all together in a video. It's our Prince, Princess, Palace video at the end of the week so that everybody can see what everybody else is doing this summer. The first week of July will be dragons as a theme. Second week of July is pirates. That should be a lot of fun. And then that third week of July is stories on parade. And that's one of those things, as you do activities this summer or participate in summer reading, send us pictures. That'll be part of our stories on parade at the end of summer. Plus, we're asking you to build a stories on parade float. So you can build that out of a cardboard box. You can draw a picture. You can paint it, decorate your bicycle, decorate your car, whatever you want to do to make it part of your float entry into our stories on parade along with some of the pictures of activities that things have done. I hope you've enjoyed our craft project today. Simple and easy, and I promise you will be surprised at how cool the clay is that you made out of glue and white bread. It's pretty awesome. Let us know that you've liked our project. Let us know that you did a project. Share it with us. Show it to us. Make sure you get signed up for summer reading and come pick up your packet. Everything is available now. So come down and sign up, no matter if you're 18 months through adults. We have some reading activities for you. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.